You're beautiful, so do video.
You can leave it on because it's live now, so.
Okay.
But that's up to you. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Hold on. Sorry, I was getting a Skype call at the most inopportune moment. So, this is Patrick Butterfield. It's Eric Durchholz's worst nightmare coming to life.
Oh, yeah. Hello.
So, we also have Doc and Robin here. But Patrick, go ahead and yourself, because I'm sure everyone who watches knows who you are, but go ahead and introduce yourself in your own words.
So, I'm Patrick James Butterfield, not to be confused for Patrick John Coleman. I guess I am the predecessor to everything that happened with Vitali, and kind of know firsthand what PJC is and how he works and how he tears your life apart. And I luckily have been able to use it to my advantage and come out on the other side better than I was even before. So yeah.
Good for you. Welcome, Butterfield. It is so good to see you.
Very glad that you invited to join us. So we were talking a little bit before we went live, and just some stuff you told me is, I mean, it's a horrible thing that you would think Patrick is capable of doing. Apparently turns out all to be true.
Yeah.
One thing you said that I asked you about was, did he listen in on your phone calls and tell you what to say?
Oh yeah, I mean, every text, every phone call, he was looking at me and basically coaching me through it, making sure and once I would take the conversation, yell at me and tell me like either to get off the phone or just take it in another direction, and then I guess reward me for whether or not he decided I did a good job.
How would he reward you?
I mean, it was just kind of like, all right, good job. Like, now let's get to the next thing. Like, let's get to the next step. Because
he rewarded you by.
He would tell him he had an upgrade or a spiritual ascension.
It probably that like, yeah, like it was basically like a video game almost. I mean, like, it was keeping me on my toes to realize, or he was keeping me on my toes as to like, okay, well, there's a point to all this madness, and there really wasn't. And if I started to catch on to there not being a point, it was my fault.
Were there any?
Because he could read my.
Oh yeah, he said he could read your mind.
Yeah, but I really
read your mind.
What's that?
Did he ever accurately read your mind?
No. I wear my emotions. Like I'm not very good at like having a poker face. So I think I would always have this look on my face whenever he could see my thoughts dwindling into my own, I guess, like outside, like he would notice that the leash he was giving me too much slack basically. Yeah.
You said that he would listen in on the phone calls and text examples of trying to direct your conversations?
Oh, just like anybody who I talk to. I mean, I've looked at past text messages and I'm like, none of those are my words. I can give an example of what, and the funny thing is because he sent me a snapshot of a previous conversation from way in the, like, I don't even know when it's from. There's no date on it, but
you know what? No wonder your family went ballistic. If none of the stuff was yours, no wonder your poor mom went off the rails.
But I guess that's like the mystical part about it, is that it was really interesting how people kind of, like, I almost feel like people felt it happening before they were even aware of what was happening. And what it really did is it brought to light what was really going on in my family, just health issues all around that were never addressed. I mean, only up until this year I've realized that what PJC was during that time was a dramatic, like an over dramatized version of my mother, in a sense, because she's manipulative. I think she's overall just manipulative, and it would be like, oh, like, I love you, I love you, I love you, and then like throw all this like that happen, and just kind of like tugging at.
You know what? We all seek out our parents and our partners, and I can attest to that.
Yeah, and that was definitely for sure. So it's taught me like exactly what that is, and unfortunately, I've decided to, like, for my own mental health, that right now I need to kind of I need to keep distance from her, and I've kind of stopped talking to her for a moment because she needs to kind of figure it out on her own at this point. I'm kind of tired of being the parent through it all.
But we do become
we did.
You know, we do become that for our parents, especially in the sorts of families we come from. But, you know, I got to give your mom props for what she did.
Oh, she's a warrior for sure.
Crescendo.
Yeah, it's not acknowledging things that you need to resolve, and then constantly coming into that cycle every year for your whole. I mean, over and over expecting different results, and that I was doing the same thing, which is why I also reached out to JC. What was that?
Speaking of your mother, did you know that Patrick, that me and Ron are all working for your mother secretly?
Wait, I'm sorry?
Patrick and Ian are working for your mother. That mother hired us to start taking him on or something.
Yeah, I remember reading. She has no ability to do that. She can't handle her own issues right now, let alone I don't think she knows how to use the internet. I mean, she had an iPhone, and I was trying to show her how to use it. There's no way that she would. That's all complete BS.
Well, she
of course
an army for her.
Yeah.
So, I guess I
mean, I can read to you what he sent me recently.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because he sent me a link. Yeah, this was on August 1st. He had sent me a link for 10 YouTubers who were murdered, and he says, basically why I'm posting this is that I know what's up. Those responsible will not be exonerated. Too many people know the threats made against me. The trail will lead right to them. So some advice, drop it, much love. And then on Wednesday, he sent this screenshot. He had said, I've been working on this documentary all year, which is
right.
I wanted to work on something artistically. And he reeled in Christy. So he says, Christy came on as a producer and director. They're getting funding now, and it's all out of my hands. But when you're the subject of a documentary, it's a sign that you're on the right track. We can talk about this tonight, and I will give you a crash course on how films like this get made. It's all good, but I want you to be comfortable, so some lessons tonight. And
Jim Jones is in a lot of documentaries.
Well, Butterfield, I know what he is talking about when he mentions Christy. I know who she is, and that is another blast from the past. She doesn't associate with him now. I know exactly who he is, and this is just BS.
Yeah. I don't know when that was from, but it's a screenshot. I don't know what his purpose of sending that was, but then my response was, perfect, everything I've wanted for tonight, thanks. I feel a bit unprepared. Being a psychic medium shaman sure helps when I don't admit to weakness in dire times, LOL. So I don't know. I think he's sending me, he's basically like, Castian, like, can I reel you in? Can I suck you back in? And
that's what my impression. Once he found out, like, that you were, he said he didn't know where you were for 2 years. And then once he found out, he started making these videos talking to you. I'm like, he just thinks that you're still prey for him. He thinks he can suck you right back into his vortex.
And I mean, it's really sick, the things that he's said about Vitaly since then. And I'm just like,
oh yeah, he's taken possession of Vitaly's soul. He's now one of his spirit guides. So.
Oh my God.
He also said that Vitaly killed himself in order to become one of Patrick's spirit guides.
Yeah, but now he says I killed Vitaly.
Right.
So.
It's always a different story, right? Anything that...
His attack on Omni was just an abomination. Holy crap.
Well, so there's so much more I want to ask you about. Like, I don't want us to get sidetracked.
Right.
You said
Yeah.
he's so like he would get violent.
Yeah, so the whole getting a demon out of me incident where
No.
that was when he had the butcher knife against my chest.
So he put a fucking butcher knife against your chest, and
Yep. And at this point, it was like that was when the Clockwork Orange. I'm sorry.
what did he say when he had it there? Did he say like I'm gonna stab you or something?
I think it was like, it was the messing with your emotions to the point, like, so it was like fear, sadness, it was like fear, sadness, happiness, like going back and forth, like kind of hitting every button over and over until he's got a hold on me, I guess. Cause
you just want to get the good reaction and none of the bad ones.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I call it my mental boot camp. Like that's what it was. Like on with like weird, like spy type stuff, like torture. But I can't imagine it's much further from the shit that I was going through with him.
No kidding, sweetheart.
It was something else. I mean, so with the knife, it was like, is this what you want? Like just asking me questions like, is this really how you want this to happen? Or getting me to
Do you
agree
think he
with
would have? Do you think he would have been capable of actually stabbing you with that knife?
so, but he
You
definitely took it to the limit as close as he could.
Do you ever get the impression that he could hurt somebody that way when you were with him?
I mean, the anger and like the violent outspurts sometimes.
His crazy eyes. He had crazy eyes, huh?
Oh yeah, the eyes for sure. I mean,
They're crazy again
yeah.
right now.
Oh, crazier than ever.
Just tiny little pinhole pupils. Something's not right there.
Yeah, I mean, it was keeping me in a constant state of confusion. I never knew what was going on, and I wanted to know what was going on. I was so just bored with the day-to-day that I was going through, and it was like I definitely wanted something to kind of ruffle the feathers, and it was a lot of fun at a lot of the points. It was a lot of learning in the sense of like I knew I needed to go through. I think that the shit that he says he's powerful with, I am realizing that I'm actually the one that was harnessing that, and he was kind of feeding off of.
Yeah, I can see that. He's a fucking dirty vampire.
Yeah.
You paid these dues for this club, and he extracted these dues from you, and you paid him. But look at you now.
Oh my God. Well, yeah. I mean, I never would have realized them. I mean, he told me that we were going to come to Nashville. He said we were going to go to Short Mountain, and I now live in Nashville, and I have been to Short. I've done it all on my own. So there it is.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't wait for the life ahead of you. His fucking life is over. So there's always that to reflect on.
Right.
Can I ask a Bolt's question, Butterfield, about that era? It's my understanding that he may have run up your credit cards.
Oh yeah, he took
go
all
on
the money. Oh yeah. That was it too. I mean, he does this to people so that he can survive off of them and then tell you that he's helping you.
He's a fucking parasite.
Oh yeah. He also and this whole him getting arrested thing and saying, I forget what he had said he got arrested for. Oh, it was the whole Starbucks thing.
Yeah,
he said he was
arrested for being a shaman. But my understanding is that he was healing people and then tried to use your credit card.
Yeah, he used my dad's credit card. So
it wasn't even your credit card? Oh my God.
Well, no, it was my credit card. So the setup with my dad, he gave me a card for emergencies. Like if I ever needed to get out of a situation, I could use that card. It was definitely not something that I used regularly at all. And yeah, so my dad had noticed, I mean, he knew it was kind of going on, and he noticed that I was out of that, and so he disputed them and they arrested him.
Wait,
Interesting.
your dad disputed the credit cards, and that's why PJC got arrested?
Right, yeah.
That's fraudulent use.
No
So
kidding.
Yeah, because, well, no, I think I was actually in it. Yeah, I was still in it with him. I was still under the spell, if you will. But yeah, I think I think I might have been in. Yeah.
This is new news. Holy crap.
how much did he try to take you for altogether?
Oh, well, I mean, I wasn't working, so what had happened is that he took all of my actual money, and then he ran my bank account negative $600.
Oh my God.
And
600 is about how much he took Vino for, if I remember.
yeah, and then he had me on the phone with Chase, yelling at Chase, make this make sense, which are kind of a lot of people
videoed that too.
Yeah, a lot of people that have there's like some catchphrases throughout the whole thing, and make it make sense is a lot of people's favorites.
Make it make sense. Go. Make it make sense.
Laugh about it. So people will be like, make it make sense, make it make sense.
Well, so what other, I mean, kind of getting off track again, what other times did he physically assault you? When we have an infamous black eye that everyone knows about.
Oh yeah, that was like during the awkward age of watching videos, and that was towards the beginning, if I remember. Kind of, I mean,
why did he hit you?
He said he was getting a demon out of me. I mean, it wasn't really, like, he felt really bad. I feel like
Did you sass him first, or what?
Yeah, I don't think I was going in the direction that he wanted me to, and so that was his, because it's like me to a certain place, and it's kind of like, oh God, I'm exhausted working on you. It was always like, oh, I'm so tired, like, trying to do this for you. I'm trying to work on you, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, all right, well, I'll just punch you in the face to kind of get my point across.
You say he felt
Patrick, can I just chime in a little bit? I've got some experience in dealing with domestic violence between men and women, typically. But what you're describing there is a classic domestic abuse narrative. Mm-hmm. I'm helping you. You're not responding to my teachings. I'm so frustrated with you. It's your fault. I'm going to punch you in the face, and then I'm going to feel bad about it.
Right.
And I'm sorry to say, but that is an absolute pattern that occurs in every one of these situations. Mm-hmm. So they end with divorce, incarceration, or death. And I'm so glad that you got out with your life intact.
Me too. I mean, it brought to light mental illness, domestic dispute, or domestic abuse, which are all things that run rampant in my family that I'm like, had been running from, but realized it still had a tie on me because I had just tried to cover that up and not address it. So I almost feel like it got me past that part that I didn't. So it's like going through that with PJC made it so that I don't have to go through it later with like actual relationships, maybe. Because I mean, I wasn't dating anybody. I didn't feel good enough.
Yep.
There was nothing to get back to the surface. I don't know.
The dynamic of domestic abuse is the abusing party teaching victimhood to the other party. And you've broken through that cycle, and it doesn't happen often enough. And, you know, it's great to talk to you, and I just can't praise you highly enough for doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Ian.
Do you remember what set him off? What made him think that he needed to punch a demon out of you? Do you remember?
I don't even know. I mean, at that point, it was just like I was so physically and mentally exhausted. I think that was the beginning of just kind of like wrapping me around his finger with the videos and like, watch this. This is what this means. And I mean, he kept me drunk and sleep deprived the whole time. So.
Yeah, and Butterfield, anytime he made a video of you two, is it true that he made you watch it the next day, and maybe even over and over? You had shared this with me.
Yeah, it was. He would plant little seeds everywhere. Like I kind of feel like that Snapchat I read you, that was the seed. Like he's planted all these seeds so that he'd have something to come back on and be like, remember this? Come on, remember this. Like, this is real. And it's like, no, I'm not wrapped up into your psychosis. So it's not working, you know, like, and it did work back then. Cause I'd be like,
it did work back then.
he has a hold on my emotions.
With that in mind, Patrick, I have a number of videos featuring yourself and Patrick John Coleman on my channel. If you're uncomfortable with that, I'll remove them immediately.
No, I mean, if you're portraying them in a way.
It's an archive. He has an archive of all of the abominations, and I praise him for it, because you know what? If this guy ever gets convicted of anything, I think it's an important display of not only your process, but that of others.
Right, and yeah, that's why I'm doing this too, because I mean, I never thought it might have crossed my mind at some point that it might get as heavy as something with like what happened with Vitaly, but I never imagined. So yeah, this is just good to get it out there so that we have a reference point. And again, I was devastated when I found out that he had gotten a hold of somebody else, I guess, you know.
Did Patrick ever tell you to kill yourself?
No.
Just thought I'd ask.
No, Butterfield wasn't ever at that point. He was just distressed, and he didn't come on board talking of suicide like Vitaly did.
And I think why he I think he might actually have been like in love with me.
I think he absolutely was. I think he really was. To the extent of his ability, you know, everybody does their best. Some people's best don't measure up to the rest of us, but I think he loved you.
Mm-hmm. And that I felt that guilt too, but I was just like, that's not right. Like, I need to. This is it.
Yeah, it wasn't a love that probably should have been up to the standards you deserve, but you know, in his limited capacity, I think he did.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even acknowledge it as a relationship of mine, because people call him my ex-boyfriend, and I'm like, like, I don't know if you could really say that, seeing as I don't think it was in my head then for the majority of the time.
He was your Svengali.
Yeah.
Well, he calls his friend.
I'm sorry, what was that?
He calls you his ex-boyfriend.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I've watched videos, and I'm just like, none of it hits me emotionally at all. I'm just like, wow, I feel sorry for him.
Patrick, I have a less serious question for you, if it's okay to ask.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, well, other Patrick, Uncle Creepy, said that you were kidnapped by the Men in Black and had your memory erased. So maybe you could comment about that. Have you met Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones?
Not yet. Hopefully soon, but no, that never happened. That was my own fabricated scenario to get away from him, because once I woke up, I had no idea what had happened and how powerful it was. I was just like, I was in like full force, just survival mode. How to that he doesn't know where I'm at and get to a safe space. So
exactly the right thing to do.
So did you make this decision when he went into the hospital? Did you see that as your means to escape?
Yes. So he was in the hospital. He had sold my he had sold my stuff at somebody else's yard sale.
What?
Yeah.
He sold your belongings at a yard sale.
This
he sold
has an apartment. He had built up this apartment. He made a little nest.
Yep.
And with a big television, and Patrick got rid of every fucking thing.
Yeah, so he sold all of my electronics. I ended up losing everything I've ever owned, which is something that I've been dealing with. I guess the biggest thing was just like everybody was so concerned with what I'd been going through, and everybody was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And then once they didn't remember anybody anymore, and it's like I lost everything I've ever worked for. So it was like all okay. That was all in vain, I guess. But at the end of the day,
you made it out with your life, and stuff is just stuff. You can get that back.
Right. It was just. What's up?
Oh, you're working for it right now, recovering.
Yeah, it was that old life anyways. It was like I had gotten into contact with PJC to get away from don't feel really me. Well, the way that somebody described it is that I'd been going out wearing all these costumes, and then when I would come home, I would take all of them off, and I didn't know who I was.
Mm-hmm.
So,
honey, you were so ripe for that maniac. You're low.
Oh, yeah. Well, because my ability is that I like tap into people and like I know what they want, and it's not not in a manipulative way,
but his was
where it's like I want to be for you who you need at this moment, and I do promotional work right now, and that's been helping that ability come out a lot more. So I'm able to, I call it catch and release. It's like you have an interaction with somebody and it's healthy and it's like it makes them feel good, and then it's like you move on. Like we had that healthy interaction, and it made your night, it made my night, and now we can go on with our lives. And you might have been going through something that was making you feel unhappy, but just kind of throwing out a little, hey, you're going to be okay.
You are describing a regular life, and I celebrate you, dear.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, completely. And that's the only important thing, that you got out of a dangerous situation. And I want to roll back a little bit and just speak for a short moment. From what you've said to us, Patrick was physically abusive, knife to the chest, various other stuff. He drained your bank account, overdrew it, sold your belongings, and fraudulently used your dad's credit card, or a credit card that you had.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
Don't forget he listened in on his phone calls and told him what he can and cannot say.
And prevented his friends from coming to visit him.
Oh, yeah.
And you mentioned sleep deprivation as well. Could you...
Oh, yeah, sleep. I'm sorry?
Could you elaborate on that?
Oh, yeah, so I'm sorry I got off tangent with getting away from him.
Don't worry about it.
No, not at all. We're all fascinated.
Tell your story however you want.
So when I had gotten away and it was basically when he had a seizure. He had a seizure at the yard sale that we had asked the woman.
Yeah, that seizure, do you think it was a real one, or do you think he was flopping around after a dramatic moment?
No, it was absolutely a seizure, because at this point we were sleeping in the street. We had slept in a park. We didn't have any money. He created an elaborate story to get us fed that day, but we didn't have any beer. So it was definitely what is it? Delirium tremens,
because he didn't have any booze.
A DT tremor. I mean, how much, if it's okay to ask, was he drinking at that time?
I mean, it was definitely we would get a 6-pack of Tall Boys of PBR every day. There would be.
Okay, so this was not delirium tremens. As a child, I witnessed my dad go through that because he had to dry out for a medical exam. I was 10 years old, and I saw him with gray skin flopping around on the floor, and that was it. Don't forget that Eric is an actor, and I think probably in light of the lifestyle you guys were living, perhaps that was his last cycle of being reborn and showing this flopping event to start a new thing. I've always been suspicious of that.
Oh, I mean, I can assure you that it was absolutely I had left because he gave me the money for the things that he had sold, and he said, "You're not ready for this next part," which it is interesting that you bring that up that way, because I was like, well, what is this next part? Like, he had it prepared, but I went and got beer and cigarettes, and somebody had an umbrella over him, and I thought he was just like doing some elaborate whatever.
Yeah.
And when I walked up, he was definitely foaming at the mouth. His face was all swollen from being bruised from biting his lips.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he had after when he fell, he actually I don't wish ill harm on anybody, but they just caught his head before it had like kind of cracked.
That's too bad.
Dang, it was real then.
Yeah. So we got
he did at least one real thing.
Right, yeah.
The most authentic moment of his life.
So we went to the hospital, and right as soon as I was like, I'm not upset about this. Why am I not upset about this? I've been told by this person that I'm supposed to love him, and that we're soulmates, and he came back for me, and all this mumbo jumbo, and I don't have any actual feelings or remorse for him having a seizure. I felt the cycle being broken, and we got into the ambulance because I was like, well, I don't have anywhere to go. I don't really know. Like, I felt it. I mean, I was slowly coming back into myself. So he started talking crazy in the ambulance, but we got to the hospital, and it was all about different dimensions, and that construct was a movie. And he's like, this hospital is a movie set. These are actors. And at that point, I knew that it was all bullshit. And I was like, oh yeah, it is a movie. These are actors. How do I get the fuck out of here? You know, like, so,
Butterfield, this is amazing. Thank you for sharing this.
Oh,
Jesus.
for sure. So, and that was when it was just like, that was my own psychic ability. Like, it was like a bullet train of, the last 3 months kind of coming from the left side of my psyche or whatever, and it just all flashed before my eyes like a movie. And it was like I like caught up with myself, and I remember looking at the pavement, and I just said, what just happened?
Yeah.
And
when Patrick was sorry,
go ahead.
I was going to ask, what was the closing scene like? How did you progress towards your freedom? Because we only have Patrick's account of that, and it is bizarre in the extreme.
So he gave me the money he said that he had gotten from the electronics that he sold off. And he's like, all right, go get a hotel. He's like, I'll get out of this hospital. But they did a mental, it was not stable. And he was like, I'm going to get out of here as soon as possible. And they're like, no, you're not. Like, we're definitely going to have to keep you to make sure that we can figure out what's going on with this person. So I went and I had been texting him, and I was like, yeah, everything's cool. And that was when I started formulating the story, advising that I had been kidnapped, and I think it's my mom, and so I'm just never going to see you again. And
at the time, you did not know what to do.
I'm sorry, say that again?
At the time you were doing this, you did not really know what to do.
Right, yeah, this was, I don't think I've ever been, that was kind of the magical moment, because the reason I was with him is because I needed somebody to kind of take the reins on my own life, because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, I haven't been taught what to do, and in that moment, it was like, you know what to do, you can take care of yourself, you can do this. Like, and to me, I don't think I've ever felt so alone, but powerful at the same time, because it was like, now it's go mode. Like, what do you have to do to get to the other side of this?
Yeah, you take the helm of your own life. Jesus, honey.
The biggest thing, I think the most beautiful part about that ending was the whole time, the thing that he kept me on with was that I was going to help people. And what one of my friends had said is, she was like, you've already been doing that, which I wasn't aware of. Like, to people situations, and that's what he really he sought out from me, and knew that he could use to his advantage. But I had gone to get a hotel room because I was like, all right, well, I'm going to get a hotel room because I've got this money and I don't know what's going on. I don't know who to reach out to, who trusts me at this point, because there was so much crying wolf with him.
Because he eliminated everyone from your life, so you had no one to turn to.
You know, this with a child walking down the street, and they had asked me, they weren't 21, and they had money, and you know, I used my own intuition, and they asked me to get them a hotel room for the night. And so I went into a hotel or a motel and put the room under my name and was on my way to go get my own hotel room. And it was at that point I was like, you can do good in the world. You don't need somebody like this to you have these abilities.
Not in any way devalue your experience, which was unique in its own way. The characteristics that you're describing of induced isolation, sensory deprivation or overload, the cult mentality.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Everything that you're telling me ticks off aspects of that. And instead of being a cult of many people, it was a cult of two.
Oh, yeah. It was in the Rio with Colin. But yeah, it was so interesting because when I came out of it, and I think Frozen came out. I still haven't seen it, but that song "Let It Go" was just playing everywhere, and I was just like, "Oh, let it go," and that was really powerful and helpful. And then the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt had just come out, and I was like,
"That show's pretty funny."
A show about a cult, and so yeah, I watched that. That really get through it. Like, I don't know, I've always brought humor to things, and that was the interesting part about everything I was doing with him, is that he really kind of put that light out. And now I'm back, more powerful than ever, and I'm excited for everything forward.
And Butterfield, I want to ask you, are you doing any of your art? Anybody watching this, Butterfield is an artist. He has acting abilities and I think musical abilities, and I hope you're pursuing that.
I think my job right now is really helping with that. There's still a little bit blocks of myself getting in my own way with actually like getting over the fear of going for something. I have started seeing a therapist, and I'm at the point where I'm like, I've done all this work. I've gotten myself to a really healthy mental state, and I'm just kind of at the top of a mountain, like, okay, you know, I'm ready for that leap. I'm ready for that jump. So,
well, you have a lot of people rooting for you, and by that, it's not just positive vibes.
Thank you.
That's a network of folks who are supportive. Can I ask, with regard to therapy, when you were with Patrick, did he give you any advice about medication or about medical treatment for?
No.
He gave him advice about his family.
What was that?
Coleman gave you advice about your family.
Right.
A lot of that. That was hard.
Another thing, that's what I wanted to get into. Another of the big things, other than he would say, it's you or everybody else. Like, it's you or like that you're going to be put out. I'm creating you to help the world. Is it you, or is it like, what's more important, you or the rest of the world?
He's creating you. Isn't that interesting?
That's a classical false dichotomy, and oh dear, I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for words.
And the biggest thing as well, so 6-7 years ago, the closest person in my life, it was my dad's girlfriend. She basically helped raise me because my parents weren't so capable. She wasn't able to have kids, so she was basically my mom, my best friend, my dad, my mentor. Without her, I become who I am at all, really. And so when she passed away, I went into a deep depression that I didn't acknowledge. And so with his medium abilities, he would say that Annie was talking through him.
Oh my God, that's so low, dude.
And to this day, yeah, that was the most fucked up part, because it's so disrespectful, and that's why with him saying everything with Vitaly, like being a spirit guide or whatever, that's such bullshit.
Yeah.
I do believe that as souls we do follow each other, but it's not the bullshit he talks about. Like,
he doesn't know shit about spirituality. He's definitely not connected to the spiritual world.
No, it's
if
garbage.
there is one.
Right.
So, Patrick, what kind of messages did Patrick give you while he was posing as your family member?
I mean, to this day, that's one thing that I'll never really fully understand, because such a good actor, I suppose. But he would, like, the different entities that would come through him were so precisely unique, I guess.
Well, because the information he had already gotten from you. I remember Vino shared with me one time that at the end of his relationship with Patrick, every time he'd come into his apartment, Patrick would be a different persona. You know, it would be a black woman, or it would be Oxapoy, or it would be Big Daddy, and it fucking freaked Vino out. And so that's what he was doing with you, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And then, I mean, so basically what it was, it's like, keep me on my toes, keep me engaged, keep me, and it's basically like, if you think of the media, if you think of just, you know, any sort of, I mean, we're constantly being flashed, go, you said, Ian, with the overstimulation. So it was overstimulating me to the point where it's like, wow, this is really cool. You know, like I was watching this story unfold, like his story, and he was so good at jumping from one to the next that it just seemed so real.
What kind of stuff did he tell you as Andy, though?
Well, and the other thing is that Eric, he just pulled on my heartstrings. He would say like, oh, Annie wants me to, because I think I might have mentioned that she had done that. Yeah, just really like telling me that he was getting messages from her, and me being upset that she was talking to him and not me. Her telling him that she's happy that I have him to guide me.
Oh my God.
Oh, Jesus.
One of the other abusive entities that came through. So his whole thing was that Eric was not fond of me.
But
and then like jealous.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, Eric was. Wait. Oh no, you're right. Yeah, it's confusing for me sometimes, because I wasn't like in my own head. But so it was Patrick John Coleman was somewhere else, like in a different dimension.
Oh, he does that a lot.
Yeah. So whenever Patrick would come through, he wasn't happy, and that there was a point where we were sitting on my bed. I was sitting Indian style. He was sitting across from me, and Patrick John Coleman was coming through to talk to me and make sure that I'm taking care of Eric Durchholz, because that was the thing. It was like, oh well, he's helping me with all these things spiritually, so now I need to take care of.
Oh, he did that with Vitaly when Oxapoy died. Oxapoy charged Vitaly with taking care of Eric.
Yeah, it was like he needs us to take care of him in this physical world because he doesn't want. So I was sitting Indian style on my bed, and he was sitting across from me, and Patrick was violent. Like whenever Patrick would come through, it was violent. So I had a can of PBR in my hand. He was sitting across from me, and I had my grandfather's watch on a chain around my neck. And I said something. It wasn't even like, it didn't even trigger something. He just decided that it wasn't what he wanted to hear. And he like, his full wingspan, his arms back, and then he slapped me across the face as hard as he could. And then he took the beer out of my hand and he poured it over my head, and just to demean me, just to.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, that was even more intense than the punch to the face, because that was
So this is repeated physical assaults. I mean, it wasn't just a few times. It was like the regular part of his program was like slapping you, punching you, whatever. It just
your knife, your chest.
Yeah, and oftentimes unprovoked. So far.
Oh yeah, it was like, and that was what was keeping me engaged, because I'm like, well, now I'm confused and focused on what did I do and how do I not do that again.
You want to be the best kid in class, just like Vino said.
Yeah, and I mean, I dealt with weight issues growing up because with living with my mom and dealing with the divorce, she felt guilt for not being there for me because she was working and she had her own substance abuse problems, and so I never felt like I was constantly babysat by different people and didn't feel worthy and always felt like a burden. So I think that's where like the humor comes out, and my ability to connect with people on a level where like, I want to give you what you want so you'll like me, but now I do it in a healthy way where it's like, I just want to have a good time, and I care for people, and I have a big heart because of it, and it comes from a healthy place.
And the feedback is like a hug.
Yeah. And Patrick, the very things that make you in some ways a really great guy are the very things that made you, for Patrick, ripe for the plucking.
Yep. Because I had created I have friends, but that friend list on Facebook, those aren't my friends, and that became very apparent through this. And that's another thing that I'm thankful for. I mean, they're good and other things are lessons. I totally believe that. Like that makes sense and resonates with me, because I've learned so many lessons through this, and I don't see things as bad. Like, I was an angry, unhappy person, and I'm not anymore. I deal with things in a healthy manner, I believe. And yeah, I mean, that just was.
And I'm your friend on Facebook.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a real trimming of the fat. I think that was what I was also overwhelmed with. I was like, well, I've made this impact with all these people, and they all add me on Facebook. Like, I'm not somebody that adds people on Facebook. It was just like, I would make an impression on somebody and they would add me. And then it's like, but I never see you again. And what it was is that I didn't understand how relationships work, because I didn't have your standard, wake up in the morning, have breakfast with your family. It was like, wake up in a panic because somebody's not sleeping properly, getting REM sleep and panic, get you to school, always late, always like instant gratification with food. And I never fully understood or learned how relationships happened. I never saw a healthy relationship, and I had kind of adopted families along the way to learn from, but it was it was so surface. There was nothing deeper than that. It was so false, and I wasn't fully learning or grasping the concept.
Well, Patrick, I think whatever you have been doing and whatever you are doing at the moment is working.
Yeah, it's been a lot of self-reflection that I can finally give myself a lot of credit for.
Oh, honey, no kidding. You're my hero. You are my hero. I watched what happened, with your process, and look at you now. Just look at you now. Yay.
I have some more questions about Patrick.
Thank you.
I know, like, from what we've seen, that he is somebody with some major substance abuse problems. Did you witness any of that while you were with him?
That's what everybody's asked. I wasn't doing anything. We had used like THC oil, which I think really kind of calmed down my heart, because what he had been putting me through was so traumatic physically. I'm surprised I didn't have a heart attack throughout it all. But yeah, he was really adamant about not smoking marijuana, but
really, that's weird.
Using it as a
I think because his neighbors might have smelled it and he would get busted. Maybe that was the
like, yeah, that's how somebody would take him away from me once they think that he's like drugging me. But yeah, we would just make a tea out of it, make THC oil, and just like drop it under our tongue. and that brought us in.
What about any pills or anything? Did he do anything like that?
No, but I know that he had been doing meth at one point.
Yeah, we've heard that. That's no shocker.
Yeah. So he had described that like in the past, but nothing that we were doing.
Okay. Do you think he did stuff when you weren't around? I'm sure he did,
but he didn't have any like.
Butterfield was never like not around. He kept Butterfield close. They were like joined at the hip.
I couldn't take a hit without him being there.
Yeah, but you said he would give you like a spiritual mission to go get him a 6-pack or some cigarettes, and you would keep your phone while you were outside of the house.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry. That was very how I described that, but that was just the realness of it. Like, I couldn't use the bathroom without the door open.
Seriously? Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
This is some insane cult leader bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think he has the motivation to ever achieve it on a mass level, but when he only has to focus on 1 or 2 people, he just needs to pick the right targets and he'll be able to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thankful because it's really helped me understand my emotions and like how to deal with things on like I was just in New Orleans last week and we went to the Museum of Death and not be able to deal with anything on that level. And I think having gone through that, like I was looking at it from like a very informational standpoint and didn't let it affect me emotionally or like make me sick, I guess. So I think that kind of helps in the sense, like if I ever come across a situation like there's a car accident or something, like I'd be able to help somebody. But yeah, I mean, the trauma with it all, and I don't know if I've been able to look at it the way that I've looked at it and been able to grow through it. And that's why I feel so bad that it went in the direction that it did with Vitaly. I mean,
yeah, he was threatening to kill Vitaly a month before his body was found. It was on the internet threatening to kill him or hurt him or make him suffer. And then a week before the body was found, he was having these shamanic visions of his body being found. And he thinks that everyone's going to believe it's because he has magic powers and not because he has knowledge of criminal activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet Joshua Luxor or Adam Wolf?
Yeah, Joshua would be on the phone with us a lot. Who is the other one?
It's the same person. It's just his real name.
Okay, yeah, Joshua Luxor in California.
What kind of stuff would he say to you guys? I mean, he's in on the whole thing with Patrick. Was he just sitting there trying to fuck with you too?
It seems like what I've gotten and what I've kind of gathered with him is that he has some social anxiety issues. He's trying to make sense of the things that he's dealing with. Emotionally, I think he has issues with talking to women, and so I think that
he definitely does. He's a big part.
Yeah,
I think the platform resonates
he
with
wants his sister dead.
What?
He wants his sister dead. He hates his sister because his parents made him treat her well.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, every conversation, whenever that was like that fed both of them when they talked about it. So I think he really liked discussing that all women are narcissists. I think.
Yeah, that's probably why they're friends.
Yeah.
Women together.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Can I ask about a specific video, Patrick? And again, if any of this is uncomfortable, just boot it.
Okay.
But there was one that you made, I think it was, you made a telephone call to your family during one of the difficult times. And it seemed, from my perspective, to be fairly highly scripted.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that part.
It seemed from, sorry, it's a bit loud. It seemed from my perspective that you were probably scripted in that phone call.
Okay, can you remind me what that video was? Like, what was the topic?
Yeah. You made a phone call, I think, to your family, or it was a message to your family about how well things were going with Patrick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he would basically tell me how to say it, and then he would kind of walk away in the other room and listen from afar.
Oh my God.
And if he didn't like it, I'd redo it.
Yeah, that was exactly the impression that I got.
Oh, yeah.
It looked very much like the kind of video that hostage takers make,
Well,
especially when it's like, everything's fine and I'm totally well. So
It's like the Patty Hearst thing.
yeah.
I would like to, I think now that I'm at a good place mentally, I would like to look into more things like that, like cult activity maybe, and just, I know I've heard of Patty Hearst. There's this video.
It's called Stockholm Syndrome.
Yes, yeah.
You're in the right place.
Yeah.
Well,
This Second City thing where he says, I didn't order any Stockholm Syndrome, Patty Hearst. So that's the extent.
They tell you who they are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the risk of repeating what must be painful, you were making videos that were directed to your family, scripted or essentially approved by Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
And if he didn't like them, you had to redo them.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Did Patrick, I know he did, but did he actively try to turn you against your friends and family to where he was the only one who you could trust?
Yep, that was I knew that I wasn't having healthy relationships, but at the same time, like, that was the biggest guilt that came out of coming back to my own life. Because, I mean, my friend Deirdre was mainly, because, I mean, she was my best friend, like, I would see her all the time, so he really wanted to make sure that I wasn't interacting with her and that he could hit her the hardest. And she took it very personally, and I felt really terrible about that because I didn't know
and she thought you were helping sponsor that as well. So, yeah, isn't that true that she thought you were on board with that?
Yeah, and I mean, she's been talking to somebody about it, and at first I was like, this isn't about you, like, this is stuff I'm dealing with. But you never know where somebody's perspective is coming from and how they're perceiving things. And at first I think he had worked on me so well that I still had felt some animosity against her. Because I do help situations so well when people are in dire times that I was an actual dumping ground. I mean, when he said that was true. Like, people just feel like, all right, well, I can dump all my problems on you and divulge with them onto you. And now I'm learning boundaries. Like, I've basically come down here to learn those boundaries. But I've since seen her, and we have made up and had a long discussion about it, and she understood.
Oh,
broke down. I'm really sorry that happened. It was nothing personally against you. Yeah, I went home to Chicago recently and met up with a lot of people and just had really pretty much the most productive interactions, describing just like where I was, what I had gone through, and who I'm becoming. So.
Oh, honey. Oh, gosh, I celebrate you right this minute.
Yeah, well said. Well said.
In the way I described it. Go ahead.
No, that was it. Just congratulations for getting through this and coming out.
Well, what it was that I had adopted the negative inner voice that my mother has, that she just kind of drives, like, just basically beating herself up constantly on a daily basis. And it took getting away from there and coming down to Nashville to that way. And now I talk to myself respectfully. I don't have a negative inner voice. So
because you're not who you were as you were raised. You know, we have choices. That is the biggest power we have. It is the power of choice. And darling, you've made that, and you never have to go back, ever.
Nope. And it takes work, and I mean, it's going to take a little more work, obviously, but it was just so fascinating going home, and it was as if I was seeing, like, making eye contact with people that have loved me all this time, and I couldn't see that love because I didn't love myself. I was like, I looked at them, and I could see the way that they had been looking at me the whole time, and I couldn't see it before. So I was able to, like, see that love because I had loved myself. I had learned how to love myself, and through that, it's like, whoa, like, this is how you've seen me, and I couldn't see it because I hated myself so much.
Oh, honey, you know what? In being here with you, I have to say that this is probably the most superior thing that has ever come out of an encounter with Patrick John Coleman. Just look at you, look at the lessons that this freak has fostered in your process, and man, it takes my breath away that this fucking bastard has created this opportunity in you to make this breakthrough, and I am so proud to be a witness to this.
Yeah, it's definitely fascinating. I mean, I don't know who he had been with before this, but I know that people have been trying to kind of get him taken down prior to all of this happening.
If there was one thing that you could say to him, just like, what would your statement to him be? Because you know he's going to watch this.
Oh, for sure. I'm not afraid of I'm my own person. Please try to come for me because you won't get very far.
No, he's hexed us all. He's threatened us all. He's cursed us all. And he's at his lowest fucking point ever. He is so powerless. It's ridiculous.
No,
and you've got this behind you, sweetie Petey.
Thank you so much. No, I mean, I've kind of, I know that you personally, Omni, don't, I mean, I have my own spiritual journey or opinions, but I just feel like I've gone through a lot of death, and I feel like I do have a lot of people on my side. I mean, my grandma just passed away, so if he wants to talk about hexing me, like, I've got a lot of people watching over me.
Yeah, he's I said before, for someone who claims to be so spiritual, he's about the least spiritual person I've ever encountered. Yeah. He's just a black hole of narcissistic, egotistical bullshit. And that's being nice to him. That's being very nice to him.
I don't have any anger towards him because that's just giving him power. Like,
he says all this is evil. He says it's evil to expose him. But what you're exposing is someone who actually commits evil. He's a domestic abuser. He drained your bank account. From Vino, we know that he's a former drug addict. Not former. We know he's still on fucking drugs.
Yeah,
I mean, he's practically a homicidal person, if not. I mean, he held a fucking knife to your chest and threatened you with that. This is a person who is evil. This is a person who needs to be locked up behind bars. He's a fucking menace to society. And the police need to do something about him.
Yeah, it's definitely not any sort of, he doesn't really bring anything to the table for anybody.
He takes, and then he slaps you in the face. You know, I'm actually really shocked that, I mean, I knew he had punched you, but it sounds like he just would regularly slap you or hit you or whatever, just based on nothing.
I was in a very vulnerable place, so.
And he took hideous advantage of that, and that is what he does.
Yeah, so, it's messed up. That's the last thing we can do to another human being. He doesn't understand human interaction. I mean, that's not how you treat people.
I'm barely a human.
Yeah.
It's how you treat a victim. And the strategies that he used are absolutely textbook in every respect.
And I had adopted a victim mentality as well. So I'm really working on getting over that as well.
Oh, Butterfield, I think you already have gotten over that. And looking at your face now, and then, you know, because there are so many videos he made of you guys, and your all of the videos with him, you are like the deer in the headlights, because your eyes say everything. Your eyes are definitely not the same now. Your eyes have joy, and your eyes have conviction, and your eyes have power now. And holy crap, dear, you've come out on the other side, and you're here to talk about it. Yay.
Absolutely. Yeah, he had a really cute filter that he puts on YouTube, so that's what makes us look all starry-eyed, and it's just like a big...
he was slapping the fuck out of you. You know, no wonder you looked like that.
Oh, for sure.
Well, you know, he's going to have a meltdown he's probably currently having a meltdown about this
I'll bet he's
right
making
now.
a video right this minute.
He's turning up one of those ghetto Bloody Marys as we speak.
I can tell you exactly what he's doing. He's got a pack of smokes. He's putting on some getup. He's probably putting on makeup, trying to make his false witchiness.
Maybe we'll even get a video from Big Daddy tonight.
I hope so.
No,
I actually, just say a little bit here.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, no, I just wanted to actually send a message to Patrick John Coleman on air for everyone to hear. Patrick, you're a scumbag, and now you need to stay well away from Patrick Butterfield and out of touch with him.
You know what? If he's smart, he'll get off the internet entirely, but he's not that smart. So
well, he has nothing else to do. There's nothing else for him to do. So, you know what?
He's not getting a job anytime soon.
So if this douchebag reaches out to you in a way that you don't like, you have a network.
Let us know.
If he reaches out to you, contact us. We will blast that shit all over the fucking internet. He's not going to prey on you. There's no fucking way.
No, you can't get me anymore.
Piece of shit preying on people.
Yeah, sorry, baby. You can't get me.
Okay. Oh, and Butterfield, I got to say, you know, like Omni told Vino at the last podcast that he was like Angelina Jolie. Right now, you are Angelina Jolie plus Lady Gaga plus Mick Jagger.
The chat loves you.
You know, holy crap, this has been epic, darling. Yes.
It's like we put 2 stakes in the vampire's heart tonight.
Right? A job well done.
Yeah. We're not done, Patrick.
Well done.
There's more stakes, and they're all sharp and ready for your heart.
And
you should see what... Oh, never mind. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
That's what?
I was going to say that there's more coming for him, but then I was like, I shouldn't say too much.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, me neither, but Vino may or may not have more to say, and me as well.
Oh, I'd like to speak with Vino.
Well, he was on Thursday, but you guys can come back on whenever you want. We don't have to talk about Patrick either. We can talk about anything, really.
And Ian...
We'll talk about Patrick for sure.
Yeah, we do every night anyway, so...
Yeah.
What's up?
Is Ian still with us?
Ian, are you there? Yeah.
Oh, was there have been so many people who have reached out, and I'm not sure with like aliases and everything. Had we been messaging on Facebook at all?
No, we haven't. But Omni has all of my contact details, and I'd very much like him to share them with you, so you can get me by phone, Skype, and so on. Email if you're more comfortable, and reach out anytime.
Okay.
You might have been talking to Ron. I think you talked to Ron a few months ago. Ronaldinho or Mr. Mental Inertia.
There's somebody who and their identity is completely what am I trying to say?
You don't know who he is.
Yeah, they don't want to divulge their identity, which I totally understand.
Okay.
They're kind of trying to understand everything, but they themselves were involved within a cult and now work with a network that
Okay, wait.
No. I need to talk to you about
Patrick
this.
Or a joxer sock. Beware.
Yes, because they did the same thing to me. After Patrick put up a video like hitting on a 14-year-old boy, somebody messaged me. He goes, he gave me a first name. He goes, I'm part of a group that tries to track down sexual predators. It was not. The whole time it was one of Patrick's friends trying to get info out of me. So be very careful.
Beware of those. Beware, Butterfield.
What?
Yes, be very careful. Yeah. This person is probably trying to mine you for information.
And Patrick, the information Omni will share, and I can share directly, is real names, real places, no bullshit.
Yes. Yeah, we will give you our real names. I mean, fuck. I would give you my phone number if it proves to you that I'm a real person. I want you to know that, like, we're not hiding behind fake names or anything. We are all real people.
For sure.
Well, Doc is a clone, but
yes, it was really interesting. They said that they were trying to like figure out Patrick.
That's exactly what they said to me. In fact, I'm going to forward you the email. Okay. So they might have even used the same template and just changed the buzzwords.
Huh.
I think it could be Josh Luxor, but I don't know for sure. But I know one thing he did, and that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah. The Joshua the geek, Adam the geek. You know, he was this geeky kid in high school, but now he might be dangerous. Fuck.
Yeah, actually, I watched the video about the 14-year-old boy. That was really odd.
Yeah, now he says that he thinks he's funny. He goes, that person never existed. Ha ha, I tricked you. I'm like, yeah, you tricked us by making yourself look like a pedophile. Congratulations, you're a genius.
Yeah. It's actually more creepy if the kid didn't exist.
I know. Why are you making these videos?
Yeah, you conjured this child in your mind and then said, come and live with me. Yeah, hold on with the thought, you know? Anyway, I don't want to distract from what has been startling, spectacular, and incredibly brave of you.
Patrick, do any other crazy incidents stick out in your mind, or just moments with Patrick that you would like to let people know happened?
Those are basically the bullet points, I guess.
Yeah.
It really just brought to, as bad as it just really brought to the surface some stuff that I was dealing with. I don't know. But I'm also just looking at, it's my own healing or whatever, but I don't know, nothing really. Just the way that he would kind of peddle people and the lies. I can't stand all the lies. It's just all such bullshit.
Yeah, it was the world he created. I don't know if it's so much as lies, but his fantasy world that he pulled you into, and he made it up as you guys went along.
He knows it's not real. He knows it's not real. So. And
didn't you guys go out on the street a lot and talk to strangers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had me peddling at one point. Like I was just asking people for money.
Wow. While he stayed home, right?
Uh-huh. Oh, of course. He had work to do. Whatever.
Spiritual work in the 7th dimension.
Yeah, so
they can't figure out.
Just to be clear, he had you panhandling for money on the streets.
Yep.
This guy, there's no bottom line with him. There's no bottom line.
No, it never ends, really.
Yeah. You said he took all of your money at first, plus overdrew your bank account $600. How much money did he take from you aside from the bank account?
Oh God, it must have been thousands. I mean,
holy shit.
Well, no, not thousands, because I've always lived. I've made on my credit card because I have all this debt now because I'm trying to pay down stuff and catch up with everything, and it's been a nightmare.
From him?
Yeah, I mean, I was always the person that was like up on my bills. I kept my bank account or my credit cards to a minimum, and now I'm just kind of like figuring it out.
You had this good life and this cozy apartment, but you were struggling, and so you met him. Yeah, he soaked me for about $2,000.
Holy shit, this guy.
At the end of the day, like I didn't even want that life, so it was.
You know what he says too? He goes, "I didn't make you give me the money. I didn't open your wallet and make you give me that money."
Yeah.
So shut the fuck up, you liar! You fucking manipulated people.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I hate Patrick so much.
Sold your belongings and drained you financially to the point where he had you begging on the streets while he stayed at home.
And you manifested that. He had nothing to do with it.
Oh yeah, that was all my fault.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But you know what I don't get? He always says.
He would always say.
Go ahead.
The biggest thing that really kept me in line, I guess, was I can read your negative thoughts. Your negative thoughts are the reason why we're not getting anywhere.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's your fault. Now I'm going to punch you in the face.
My fault. Well, yeah, so we were staying in hotels because the cops. I'd never had so many run-ins with the cops. So they were like,
I saw the picture of you guys at the motel. There was a picture of you guys. You were sitting on the step outside the door looking just, it broke my heart. And he was taking a selfie of you guys at that motel.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically my lease was up and he was like, "Oh, we can squat here. It's fine. They can't kick us out." But there were people that had to move in there. So then he was jeopardizing, like, these people had signed a lease for this place and we're just squatting there, and like he said that he went. Oh yeah, this is another lazy thing that he did. So I was supposed to be packing to get all my stuff together so that we could leave because I was getting kicked out of my apartment. And he acted like, he said at one point there's some dimension where he's in a coma.
Oh, that's what he's doing now with Bo Ratliff. Now he's saying Bo Ratliff.
Yeah, Bo Ratliff. Oh God.
I'm in a coma. Pull the plug.
So it was just so. I'm to get all my things together, and he created a goddamn mess all over my apartment, and I don't know where I'm.
Did he ever freak out and destroy your apartment like he does with his every couple days?
Stuff was strewn everywhere. Like, I don't even know how I would have been able to get it moved out at that point. So,
Did he do it in a fit, or did he do it in the process of moving?
Yeah, so it was basically like, we have to go, and he's like, "Well, you can move everything." And then he's like, "I'm in a coma state. Like, I can't do any." Realistically,
piece of shit.
Yeah, like
he bankrupts you to the point where you're about to get thrown on the street, and then refuses to help you move your shit out. What a winner.
Yeah.
Patrick, if it's not too challenging and too uncomfortable, you mentioned run-ins with the police. Now, the timeline I have in my head was that you guys were together, say, 3-4 months.
Mm-hmm.
How many how many run-ins with the cops did you have in that amount of time?
The landlord had come with police because he just kept saying, "Yeah, just tell them that we can squat here. Like, you can't kick us out. We don't have anywhere to go." And at this point, my roommate had just kind of like bounced and won't ever talk to me again. So he brought like all this, and I think at this point my mom called and said that there were drugs in the house, that we were doing drugs so that they would get there.
Was it the beginning of the visits from the police, or did they come prior to you guys moving out?
I think they had come once before. Well, no, I think they were at, they came and picked me up at his place when they took me to the hospital. That was when my friend, I wasn't sure if y'all knew this, but so my friends had stood in front of a judge and showed videos of ours, and they were all just so distraught. He actually, he set up times, like four or five friends had actually come to see me when it had gotten very heavy, and he had cut.
Yeah.
Somebody contacted me saying he had private video that he had gone up to the apartment when you were living there, and he recorded secretly Patrick listening in on your phone calls and telling you what to say. But he said he wouldn't share the audio unless you gave him permission, and then I haven't heard from him since.
Weird. Yeah, I mean, I don't see how that would have been able to happen, but that was, I don't know. But, so they brought the videos to a judge and admitted to a psych ward.
Is this what got him put away for a year?
He got put away for a year?
Yeah, wasn't it most of 2015 he was in the asylum, or am I wrong about that?
Oh, yeah, that was after, I think that was when he had the seizure. I think they put him, I don't think he ever left the hospital after the seizure.
Oh, okay.
I think that's
but Butterfield, I'm interested in your story. So these people came before a judge and showed them the videos of you and PJC.
Yeah.
Oh, money! Holy crap! I didn't know this.
So they're like, he has a black eye, there's abuse happening. What can we do? And I think the judge really pulled some strings, because he was like, realistically, we can't do anything if there isn't like more proof or something. But he saw how they were, and that it was definitely a situation that like really needed to be intervened, I guess. So and it was really weird because somehow he knew that it was happening, and so we cleaned up his apartment, and then a paddy wagon came and picked me up, and my 4 girlfriends were there. And I was just, I mean, he really did help me through that, because he told me to keep calm, and I was calm the whole time. And
that may have saved your life.
Yeah.
That single intervention could have been the absolute turning point for you.
And it could have, but I mean, a part of me feels like I just wasn't done. As corny how PJC it might sound, I hadn't gotten the lesson yet, I guess. But
yeah, it was an intervention perhaps done a little bit too soon for your process, Butterfield. But I think it was timely, even though you might be still adjusting to that memory. But God, I think it was fortuitous.
Well, yeah, at the same time, I still would have been able to go back to my job at that point. And that job was really what was sucking the life out of me that I was trying to run away from. And I just didn't feel like I had the ability. I didn't have the resources. I didn't have a diploma. I don't have a college degree, which is what I really beat myself up over. Everything I've done has been so ass backwards in terms of like how society tells us to do things.
Well, trust me, Patrick, you've got the hardware to do that.
Yeah.
You're way smart.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask the chat if anyone has any questions for you, if that's okay.
I have one quick one. Patrick John Coleman made a big deal about hospital bills related, I think, to one of your stays. Was there any kind of credibility to that?
Yeah, I mean, he had gotten me to go to, he had got me the, not only the hospital bills, I don't even know how much that is. I don't know where that is. I also have no idea. Yeah, because I was in the psych ward for 4 or 5 days, and it was Easter.
Yeah.
That was interesting. So then he used that as a platform that like I'm Christ-like or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh no shit! He used that.
Still talking to me in there, so I was still wrapped around his finger. But I also owe Illinois for workman's, what is it?
Workman's comp.
Yeah, like a workman's comp thing for unemployment. I owe for unemployment, which
it's ironic, really, isn't it? When you think of the thousands of dollars that has been wasted trying to rehabilitate Patrick.
Yeah. Yep. And here I am. It's like, can I? I'm sure I could reach out somehow. I just don't really know. I mean, that's why I'm talking to a therapist at Nashville Cares to kind of figure out what steps I can take, because I just don't know. I know that I'm a smart person, but I'm just not educated on certain levels when it comes to financial situations, I guess.
So I'm getting some questions from the chat here. You can answer them, or you don't have to if you don't want to. Are you comfortable with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So what do you think deserves to happen to Patrick? What do you think should happen to him?
I mean, I personally, for my own vendetta, don't have any. I mean, I believe in karma. I think it gives him more power to like put hatred towards him. I don't want to give him any of my energy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I wish I knew what could happen to him. I don't think
he can go to jail. So
can he? I mean, I feel sorry for the guy. I'm not sure he can be rehabilitated at this point.
I don't think so.
I think he's too far gone. I don't know what world he could live in, which is really sad for himself. I mean, I don't know. I don't wish anything on him, I guess.
Okay.
His recovery
like,
isn't your responsibility, brother.
What's that?
I said his recovery and progress isn't your responsibility.
True. At the same time, it will break my heart if he does this to somebody else. I think
it's broken my heart because he has done it to someone else, and
and he provokes people about it.
Yeah, this is a really important point, Patrick.
Yeah.
Everyone's sorry about Vitaly, but you are in no way responsible for anything that befell that young man.
I know.
Go ahead.
I did feel kind of guilty at first, but I worked through that.
There's only a few people who are guilty. I think there's about 3 of them. Anyway, did Patrick ever? Did he? Go ahead.
That's just my person. I mean, I feel I need to get over like feeling responsible for things that I have no responsibility over, and that comes from manipulation. It comes from constant manipulation from family. And
well, I'm going to tell you now. You have no responsibility whatsoever for those tragic events. Nothing.
Yeah.
Was Patrick honest with you about his HIV status?
Yes.
Like from day one?
And that was pretty scary, I guess, because I'm trying to go back and think about it, and that's actually just a dark place for me, just because
we don't have to talk about it. I just was curious if he had told you, because I get the sneaking suspicion he doesn't tell everybody.
But I do want to get it out there that a lot of the actually consented. So
are you concerned about yourself, darling?
No, I'm perfectly healthy. And I mean, I'm educated on HIV. Had I contracted it, it's funny. I mean, the way that the country works with healthcare right now, if you have HIV, you're actually taken care of. My friend receives very wonderful assistance, which Patrick John Coleman could be using, but doesn't. I don't know.
I was an activist back in the 80s, and I did house parties with lectures, and we handed out condoms. This was like 1981, and Patrick knew this, and he shared it, the fact that he had the status, and he asked me, should I keep taking my cocktail? And I said, well, honey, just because you mentioned it to me probably means you want to live. So of course.
I don't know. I think that might be how he's actually surviving right now, because what is this apartment he's at?
It's the 9th circle of hell that he broadcasts from. So
a little tiny room, and it's paid for by state of Illinois Catholic Charities, and I don't know if his mom still kicks in. I think she's retired, and I think she finally said, I can't do it anymore.
Wow.
But support. He's never supported himself. Back when he hinted at coming to live with me in my state. He said, I've never supported myself. And I said, well, maybe it's time. But yeah, he gets everything, his meds, his housing, he's never had to turn a hand.
No. And that was, I was really upset I got through that, but not doing anything, and going from apartment to apartment and couch surfing I couch surfed for the first year since losing everything. They had put everything in storage, and I reached out to them because they said you could come back and get it, but they also wanted money, and I didn't have it, so I think they just sold all my stuff off. But seeing his videos while I'm couch surfing and struggling, and he doesn't know what struggle means.
No.
Yeah, that's something I'd like to say to him. Please come talk when you understand what real struggle is, because I don't think you've ever experienced it.
He's never been hungry, ever, ever, ever.
No. I know I fed his ass for a long time.
I know you did.
Yeah, he made Vitaly feed him Cheetos while he was lying drunk on the bed talking about gray aliens. So,
and I mean, at this point, I just have to laugh about it and just hope to God that nothing comes of him like doing this to anybody else. I hope that it ends at. It's just hard to see an end with him.
Yeah, well, it is.
You know what? The saving thing, though, Butterfield, is the fact that he is just a fucking mess right now. Back when he sucked you in and Vino in, and when he sucked me in, that was when he was cute and charismatic, and he was still on his high game. But now, look at that fucking mess. Yep. And I am rejoicing.
Oh, yeah.
There's some more questions from the audience I want to ask before I forget them. Do you know a person named Joanne Catherine or Eden Algonquin who is connected to Eric?
I'm sorry, Joanne who?
Joanne Catherine. She also goes by Eden Algonquin. She's his transpersonal psychologist.
No, what's a transpersonal psychologist?
A bullshit artist.
I never heard of that.
No, never heard of that.
Let's
Me
see.
neither.
Did he have a lot of clients per week?
No.
No.
Did he have any?
We had one guy come over and he ran off.
So he's not really making any money from his bullshit at all.
No. I can imagine. And I feel like he was really reeling them in with me, so.
He has no stinking budges.
Let's see what else here. Is there anything that really triggers him or that he just really snaps when he hears about? Obviously, you trigger him. Just mentioning your name triggers him hard.
Oh, I know. And I mean, there was something I read recently that was like, avoiding conflict with others only creates a conflict within yourself. And I guess I'm trying to because talk of the ego and everything. It's like basically confidence kind of triggers him. It's like if you show him that you're confident and don't need to rely on him, he kind of freaks out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like if you sound like this, he'd be like, "That's your ego."
He'll punch you in the head because of confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to murder all of us. So.
Yeah. Well, that's the narcissist, because if you take away from his light, then
you take away his supply, and you're a dead man.
I have a text exchange with him that extends many pages, where I take apart every bullshit argument he has and show him references and the whole thing. And that was the quickest way of being out of touch with that douchebag. It's like, Patrick, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Well, guys, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, it just took me a while to get over the fact that, I blame myself a lot. And I was like, I felt stupid, but, he's a master manipulator.
Yeah, I think he wants to be a master manipulator.
Well, he was with Butterfield, and
but he can't do it with people who know what he's doing. He can only do it with certain kinds of people. He can't hide, really.
He can't do it anymore because he is just a fucking wreck.
Yeah, if there was, I wish there was this to for me to find out when I was back there,
Well, when he found out Vitaly was talking to me, he started accusing me of black magic, using dark psychology, and then eventually he started saying I told Vitaly to kill himself. But now the story has changed to I slit Vitaly's throat, even though we know Vitaly was shot in the head. So he doesn't even care at this point if what he says matches up with reality. He's just going to say anything he wants at this point.
Anything to distract from the truth. And make you. It's like anything to make you. Take away from the truth and then try to figure out what's going on, because it's never going to make sense. It's just so funny. He's such a mirror for his own bullshit. He's the narcissist. He's the one not making sense, but he's constantly throwing the narcissist persona.
Yeah. Well,
nobody else is making sense.
My favorite thing that he does is when he goes, "Oh, you hate me, but you manifested me." I'm like, bitch, you manifested me. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, I'm here for a reason, you dumbass.
Yeah, manifest this. And
yeah, you want to talk about manifesting shit? I'll manifest the police at your fucking door.
Yeah,
think of that.
Right up yours.
Patrick, there's huge value in what you've shared with us tonight. I think for you, certainly for us, but perhaps most importantly, for the people who now understand a bit more about Patrick. So you've covered the bases. You're helping people stay away from Patrick and people like Patrick.
Yeah. Yeah, people need to hear this. I mean, we can repeat things that we've heard or whatever, but to actually hear you say it is totally different than hearing it from me or Ron or Doc. Like, you actually were a fucking victim of this piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he is the most vivid victim of the recent business with Patrick John Coleman.
You're not a victim anymore. That's really needs to be stressed.
He is not. He is not.
No more hold on me. Can't take me down. Sorry.
Well, guys, we need to wrap up, but I want to get some final thoughts out. So first, I want to say thanks to everybody for coming on, but really thanks to you, Patrick, because this fucking vampire needed this shit. Patrick needed to be confronted with his crimes, and here you've done it. So I think you've hurt him far more than any of us could ever hope to, just by telling the truth about his ass.
Oh, for sure. And I'm glad to do it. I'm glad I could help.
Well, I'll give you the final word, Patrick, but Doc, Robin, you guys have anything to say before we let Patrick have the final word?
Ladies first.
Oh, I am just so pleased, Butterfield, that you came on here. I love you so much. We are like, we're like war veterans, you know, but you got the worst of it. You got the purple thing, you know, and just look at you. You've recovered, and thank you, darling, and thank you for letting me keep bugging you about coming on. I know
Thank you for bugging me. Thank you so much for sticking by me, and yeah, I mean, really, I just need a little push, and I need to start pushing myself. You know, I don't need to rely on other people to light that fire into my ass. So thank you for helping me.
Oh, darling, hey, Pinky swore that we'll always be buds, okay?
Absolutely. You got me.
Okay, okay, next person. That was my final thought.
Yeah.
All I really have to add is, Patrick, thank you so much for everything that you've said. And I'm so glad that you're as well as you seem to be now. There are people all over the world pulling for you right at this moment. And this isn't the end of a conversation, but I hope the beginning of a friendship.
Yes, sir. For sure. Thank you.
Well, I'll let you have the final thought. Anything else that you want to add or say or get out? It's feel free. You have the floor to say anything you want.
Just letting everybody know that you don't need somebody else to tell you how you feel. And I think that we live in a society right now that kind of makes you feel like you need somebody else to tell you what to do and how to think, and just be silent with yourself. If you need to take a retreat and just stay by, like, really hone in on who you are, do it. Get away for a week, do something. I mean, I know that we've created a society where you can't really get away, and you know, there's not much vacation or mental any way to, like, do it on a daily basis. You don't need to reach out to people like him, and just be careful. Really be aware of boundaries and set boundaries with people, and don't let people into a place that you don't fully understand about yourself, because it can happen like this. I mean, cults are real, and it's not something you want to be a part of, because it can end tragically. So just really take care of yourself, and just don't fall victim to somebody like this. I just really hope that,
well, amen to that. And I guess
that took my breath away, honey bunny.
Well, I guess the last thing to be said is that I know Patrick was watching this entire thing. So,
and I hope he is shitting his fucking dirty.
What else does he have to do?
Yeah, he was in the chat earlier, but I didn't want to say anything and derail the whole conversation. But I want to say, Eric, I hope you're having a good night, buddy. Enjoy your freedom, okay? Enjoy it.
I love you all, you guys.
Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
You're welcome.
So awesome.
Great to finally talk to you.
Yeah, you as well. So I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast.
See you in the comments, you all. I can hardly get to the comments.
I'll get you a link to the video as well, okay, Patrick? I'll talk to you later.
For sure. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Adios.